Welcome back. The equation is pretty simple. Better quality hay equals better feed for your cattle. And getting that equation right can lead directly to a better bottom line for your operation. The best way to put up high quality hay is with equipment that is well maintained and properly adjusted. Brad Bulla takes us to Missouri to learn about the value of properly adjusting hay cutting equipment.
Gavin and Steve Floyd are busy guys. They operate Floyd Farms in southwest Missouri, and each year they cut about 1,000 acres of hay. And getting high quality hay cut is a top priority for one simple reason.
Quality hay in operation is very important for the fact that we get better gain on our stocker calves, and it brings our cows through the winter better with raising calves.
We run a backgrounding operation. We background calves from 500 pounds up to 750 to 800 pounds, and we also have some cow-calf mama cows that we save the calves off of also. We do both dry hay and high moisture hay. Most of our fescue we bale dry. Our alfalfa, clover, millet, those higher protein crops we wet bale and wrap them in with a tube wrapper.
The variety of crops that we harvest are alfalfa. We harvest orchard grass and red clover. We harvest fescue. We do millet and crabgrass. Are the main hay crops that we do. The equipment we use to cut the hay is New Holland equipment. We use a 7230 disc bine and a 1411 disc bine.
When it comes to getting hay cut and ready to bale, one of the first questions many producers ask is how to make dry down happen faster. One key strategy is to make sure your mower conditioner is set up and adjusted properly.
The first thing a producer might notice is their hay is not drying as quickly as they expect it to. And sometimes that can be weather, but certainly it can be an adjustment issue on the machine as well. For the machine that we have here as a roll unit, it's got several key adjustments on it that need to be checked and adjusted periodically.
How do you know if your conditioner is set properly? You look at the crop. You know, if you're feeding cattle, you examine the manure piles and the condition of the cattle. If you're checking to see if your conditioner is working properly, you're looking at that windrow as it comes out the back of the machine. If it's a legume crop, we're looking to see, is the stem broken and crushed, but the leaf is not bruised? That's ideal. You know, if we look and we're doing damage to the leaf or we're separating the leaf from the stem, we've got the conditioner way too aggressive. If we're not crushing the stalk, getting it where the moisture can relieve, then we're not aggressive enough. On the flail machine, the impeller machine, we're looking to see if we're removing that wax or the cutin off of the stem and the leaf of that plant so that the moisture can escape. And if we're beating it up or we're consuming way too much horsepower, maybe we've got it too aggressive. So if we see pieces and parts of stem and stalk, we're probably doing too much.
For many producers, time and weather pressures can make the window for cutting and baling hay very tight. That can make it tempting to hook the equipment up and go. But the experts at New Holland say spending a little time making sure your equipment is still adjusted properly can make a big difference in the quality of the hay you cut.
Roll gap is the vertical clearance between the upper and lower roll inside the conditioning system. It's really important to make sure that you have the roll gap set appropriately, because if it's open slightly too wide, you won't get a good crushing and crimping action of those stems. So you want to make sure that you're setting your roll gap narrow enough that you're able to crush roughly one stem at its most closed position. What I like to do is take a roll pin punch, for example, because they're round like an alfalfa stem or a grass stem. And I can use it like a feeler gauge, just like gapping a spark plug. And there's some adjusters that actually stick out conveniently on the tops of the hoods. And I can just simply lower those rolls down until I can feel a little bit of a drag on the roll pin punch to know that I have those rolls set in parallel with the right proper gap setting to get the conditioning I'm going to need.
In addition to roll gap, adjusting the roll timing and pressure on the mower conditioner is also important.
The adjustment for roll timing is common across the New Holland product line. Essentially, the rolls are driven by a gearbox, and from the gearbox is actually some short universal drive shafts Those drive shafts will actually have an adjustment on there. You can actually loosen the hardware and slip a joint, which will allow you to reposition the roll, lug, and valley till they're nice and centered on one another so that you have clearance on both the front and the back side of the lug from a timing standpoint. And then you simply tighten that hardware back down to lock in that roll timing setting. The most common adjustment on New Holland roll conditioning systems is our torsion bar roll pressure system. It's the handle on the back of the machine where I can increase or decrease the pressure on the upper roll relative to the lower roll. You want to be able to manage that pressure, obviously, because if a crop is able to just pass through the rolls very easily, you're not going to get a good crushing and cracking of that stem. Generally, for a lighter crop, you can back that pressure down quite a bit. You don't have the same need to apply high pressures. But in your early season crops or very high yielding types of crops, it's important to have an adequate amount of pressure to be able to crush and crack and crimp that stem very well.
Overall maintenance of the disc mower conditioner should also be looked at regularly to ensure the machine is cutting properly.
We pay attention to knife condition, and every 50 to 60 acres we hand sharpen the blades, and then when the blades on the end starts to round off, we change the blades.
The service life of a disc cutting knife certainly isn't an infinite time period. They do need to be checked. We recommend that folks look at those at least once a day before they go out and start mowing for the day. They're quick and easy and inexpensive to change. Probably the biggest indicator of a dull or a damaged knife is it'll really negatively impact the quality of the cut of the machine. You can see streaking in certain grass crops in particular. When you leave uncut crop in the field, that crop is carried over till the next time the field is cut, and because it can be over mature or even dried down, it can really negatively impact the quality in that area of the field. So knife maintenance is an important thing to consider, which is one of the reasons this machine has the availability of what we call the Quick Max blade change system, which allows you to quickly change knives with a special tool in just seconds.
With 1,000 acres to cut every year and cattle that need high quality hay, the Floyds have come to rely on their New Holland hay equipment.
I like cutting with the disc bind for the ease of use. It's simple to use. It does a very nice job of cutting. It's just very important that the disc bind works well. We have very little trouble with the New Holland disc binds, and they're very reliable and they're a good tool to use on cutting hay.
Reporting from Southwest Missouri, I'm Brad Bullitt for NCBA's Cattlemen to Cattlemen.
To learn more about the proper way to adjust your disc mower conditioner, visit the website newholland.com.